Mm-hmm.
Okay, at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, November 28th, we'll call to,
November.
I'm sorry, yes, November 18th. We'll call to order the monthly meeting of the Village Board of Trustees at Sister Bay. Roll call.
Canako here.
Shampoo here.
Harp here.
Val here.
White here. Berto here. Elson here.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda is in order.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kanako, second by White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approval of the meeting minutes from October 21st and November 6th.
I have a couple questions and corrections on October 21st. My first comment would be on line page 2, line 22, where it states corrections with the September 16th minutes. Is it possible that it can, or minutes can reflect exactly what those corrections were in the future?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I know sometimes we have done that, went into the detail on it. We do keep track of that, just so you know, we have the ones that went out to the board and then the ones that as correct. We do keep those up.
Okay, on page 5, line 4, Steve Sauter is Sauter. And line 8, a motion by Bell, second by Harf, not Harf. And then another question on line 21 on the same page. Schmelzer advised there should be an agenda item for the next meeting since it involves spending unbudgeted funds, and we haven't addressed that yet. We can make sure that's on next month's agenda. That's all I had on that. Thank you.
Anything on the 6th? Motion to be noted. Who has been did?
So moved.
Motion by White,
Second.
second by Berto. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, comments, correspondence, concerns from the public. Anybody else would like to speak? Yes.
Yes, hello. For those that don't know me, my name is Rachel Stolenworth. And I just wanted to come today to recognize the past and present board, as well as Julie, for a resolution that the board approved in March of 2024. The resolution, it was a resolution of support that was used for my application to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for consideration of a community development investment grant for the Peninsula Aquatic Center. And my application was accepted and awarded a $250,000 grant this past September for use in construction of the new facility. And the Community Development Investment Grant is a unique grant, as it is one of the few that can be awarded to for-profit businesses. These businesses must be able to prove a positive impact to a community through the expansion of essential services, improvement to quality of life for year-round residents, addition of year-round employment, and the injection of energy into blighted or stagnant commercial corridors that spur capital investment. When I first looked into this grant, I felt strongly that the Peninsula Aquatic Center was worthy of this consideration. And I just want to thank the Village of Sister Bay and all of the members of the community that wrote letters that were included in my submission. I feel fortunate that the state of Wisconsin recognizes the value that businesses have in communities like ours. So I want to once again thank you, and I look forward to opening the facility up in January. So, thank you.
Thank you for coming, Dr. Moore. Anything else out there? Okay. Yes. Yep. That's nice.
After last night's public hearing on the budget, Nate and I talked briefly, thank you, Nate, for coming up. About how to make this board the most effective board possible, and I think it's germane to share with you my experience on a school board in Minnesota. The Mountain View School Board was the second largest in the state. And we had the worst reputation because we were always the last to sign a contract with our teachers. Didn't matter which year it was, we always found some way, the board found some way to stretch it out and stretch it out. Our new board, of which I was a part, hired an attorney who was known to be in Minnesota, the very best consultant for creating excellent collegial relationships in an entity whose board, administration, and staff were seemingly irretrievably at odds with each other. Within a year, the next contract season, Mounds View was the first board in the state to sign a contract with our teachers. It made that vast a difference to have an expert come in and talk with us. The take-home message of my experience, which you have likely already gotten, is there is great value in getting appropriate professional expertise and training to help a board become the most effective and respected board possible.
Right. Anyone else? Anyone online? Raised?
Not that I see.
Okay,
For the record, then we did have 3 in the packet. There was a letter from the Geo Harris attorney. And then there was also a email from Russ Carpenter regarding Bertram. And another email from Ellen Goodrich regarding Bertram and broadband.
okay. I want to point out to the trustees that they should have received an email that was from our attorney. It's something that from there, I mean, Bertha reached out for Randy to give us some advice, so if there is, you did receive that.
Yes.
Okay. Go on to 5A. Text amendments, P1, CS1, signs and definitions.
Okay, so this came out of the plan commission. They held a public hearing on it. We forwarded it to the board. What they did was they took a look at the zoning ordinance and some areas that we were having issues understanding. There were some gray areas in there. There were some areas that they thought were excessive and some areas that needed attention. So they proposed the amendments that you have before you. In summary, they reflect the park district, and agritourism in a countryside zoning district, and then the sign regulations. Those were the main points of the text amendments that you have before you. If you have questions, I can try and answer them, or we do have members of the planning commission too that can help.
Any questions, discussion?
Just want to say thank you for adding public marina back to the option of having a marina where it is. The point was we couldn't alter the building at the marina because it was no longer an accepted use being a marina. So we had to add that in.
Yeah, that was
Sort of that came from.
on the planning commission's calendar to deal with that for October, knowing that was coming up. And then Julie pointed out a couple of things that would get your list, because if you got a public hearing, you wanted to not just do one thing. Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
From by Berto,
Second.
by Sample, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, development agreement for the Northern House.
Okay, Sarah was gonna try and join us via Zoom if she could. She wasn't able to be here in person. Sarah Anderson is the one of the property owners. So the Northern House is an event center. It's a wedding barn out on Fieldcrest, and they're looking at, or they have purchased the building next to them. It was built as a single family home. It was never completed, so they purchased it and they want to use it as an accessory use to the wedding venue. So it would be where brides, for example, could go and they could see overnight, they had their own event there. The packet was pretty, I thought, pretty self-explanatory in what they wanted to do. This did go to the plan commission, they did vote, to recommend it to the board, that's why it's for you, so. What we would be looking for is approval on the development, the proposed development agreement that's in the packet.
Do you have questions?
Is this the typical length of a development agreement for anyone?
Yes,
Doing any type of commercial build?
yes.
Sense.
There's a boilerplate that was followed by plan commission. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the development agreement for Newton Hills. Motion by Bell,
Second.
second by White, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, development agreement for the mobile food court.
Okay, just real quick, Skip Heiler, who's on the plan commission, did contact me this afternoon to let me know that Country Walk Shops was missing an S. So in this development agreement, we do have a typo, so that'll be corrected. But basically, Mike Tomasian had previously received a development agreement for a mobile food vendor court. And he wasn't able to get the project done, so he asked if he could extend it, the deadline for completion. So the plan commission did discuss it and did vote to recommend to the board an amendment to extend the deadline.
Just for a little more detail, he was asking for an additional 2-year extension, and there was some uncomfortableness with some members of the plan commission. So we did a compromise at 1 year, and that we would be able to renew that. We saw substantial movement on the project.
Anybody have questions? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the mobile food court development agreement. Motion by Val,
Second.
second by Kadanko, all those in favor?
No.
Right, clerk is opposed, yeah. Okay. Development agreement for the basement revision for preserving foundations.
Okay, so this is for a fourplex that was moved on to property owned by Preserving Foundations off of Yavapai Court. And what they had done is they had entered a development agreement. There's 2 development agreements and they're trying to decide which one to sign. They signed the one that did not include a basement. And what was built was a home with an exposed basement. They also put 2 small additions on there that had never been authorized, so they went to the plan commission to get that exposed basement and those 2 additions approved. And the plan commission recommended approval of that, to the board, to amend the development agreement to include those items.
Questions, discussion? We want to make a motion?
The planning commission on board for this.
We kind of had no choice.
Okay.
That was the problem. It
It's
was
not
already
there.
built.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
yeah.
Motion by Kadanko,
Second.
second by White, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Reconsideration request conditional use, non-conforming structure. It is the property at 10849 North Bay Shore Drive.
Okay, so before we discuss this case, we have to decide whether we're going to reconsider it.
I talked to Nate.
Yeah.
I should just have something to read, so you don't probably have.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is Denise is gonna read her info on here and then before somebody wants to make a motion to reconsider.
I would like the village board to allow me to present transcribed documentation from the last board meeting and the plan commission meeting from September 23rd, 2025, pertaining to the Geo Caris conditional use permit. In my opinion, the village board was misled and false statements were made. I am not asking the board to rescind the conditional use permit. I am asking that after you listen to the testimony that was given, you reconsider the removal of the plan commission's condition to convert the cottage closest to the water to a boathouse / accessory structure. I believe many trustees base their decision on removing that condition because of these statements, including myself. It was only after I listened to the recordings that I found testimony that was different. The 3 points I believe that will be challenged are: one, that the attorney was promised he would have the opportunity to speak at the end of the debate session. Two, that the petitioner did not agree to a deed restriction to not rent the cottages. And three, that the plan commission came up with the idea themselves to turn the cottage closest to the water into a boathouse / accessory structure.
Okay, now, I believe, and we'll correct me if I'm wrong, we would need a motion and a second by people that had voted in favor of.
Correct.
Yep. So is there anybody that'd like to make the motion?
Can I say one thing? As far as this is concerned, I understand where you're going with this. I don't think any information, a he said, she said situation will change the board's opinion on the actual things that we came up with and voted on already. I think holding their project over an additional month to go through wording is really detrimental to someone who's lived here and had a place here for 30 years. I think we're going too far. I don't think we should even reconsider. It's already been talked about. It's already been voted on. Whatever, who said what, honestly, during other meetings, it doesn't matter. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think a section of it is gonna.
We're not holding anything up.
Yeah, I would like to
think
say
we're
that
holding up their construction.
Okay,
by
so,
another month.
when it comes to zoning and accessory units, I'm all for them on every level. And if we can deed restrict them to not let them be vacation rentals, that's awesome. But I don't care what they use it for, as long as it's nothing that's hurting any human being. Personally, so I will never vote to reconsider whatever they're gonna do there. Because I believe in these, should be encouraging people to have these. And especially if they're old, keep them. Great job keeping them. Way not them tear them down plan. Proud of you guys.
Christie, you like, everybody else is talking, I wanna give you a shot.
Okay, it was disappointing that at the board, we did not get clear information on this from the GeoCares attorney, and at some point I was feeling kind of stressed and threatened when he mentioned he might throw a lawsuit at us if it did not go through. But on just the common sense basic level, I just think that they should be able to keep the 2 cottages as they are, as long as they're not short-term rentals. I don't have a problem with it. I don't care if they make it a boathouse or a lawnmower house or whatever, or just keep it as a cottage for family. I don't see how that's gonna hurt Sister Bay, and they've had it for like 30 some years in that, using it that way. So to me, it just makes sense to let them have the cottage on the water, just leave it as it is.
Kurt?
It mentions that this reconsideration request is brought forward by trustees Berto and Harp. And I never sent anything in. I mean, I just don't agree. I don't agree that anything should change from what we decided. Because, man, leave these people alone with their properties. It's not
Okay.
hurting them. People came forward, and what they say wrong, me.
No, I think that's something, I don't think that we should go down the rabbit hole on this, but I think that's something we need to explore, because if your name was attached to that,
Yes.
that is.
I'm finding things in some of these notes, and no fault of the women that are trying really hard to take the place of other people who've been here for years, because they're doing a great job. But things are showing up on these minutes and stuff that,
We're out of that.
okay, we're out of that, Nate.
No, but
So let's go
I
on.
appreciate that. At least everybody else had a chance to talk, so.
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay. So is there a motion to reconsider on the floor? There is not. So we will move on to 6E.
Okay, so 6E is the marina contracts for their commercial vendors. Those are the boats that go out, they rent boats the sailboat tours. And the Marina Committee has decided to extend those contracts 2 years. Matter of fact, the original contract said that they were eligible for 2-year extension. If everything went okay, they reviewed it, everything's going good, so they voted to recommend to the board that the contracts be extended to 2027. And just for ease of your packet, those contracts, you have copies of all those showing those extensions and what changes were made to those contracts. Those end on page 125 in the pack.
Okay, those are exactly the same contract as they were previously, just an updated date on that. Did the Marine Committee have any concerns with that, or was it?
No, the only thing that changed was the new date extension for the contracts for all the commercial vendors, and then for one, we are actually charging them a little bit more because their boat goes quite a bit past the end of the dock, so we increased the rate for them. Otherwise, that's.
No last questions? All right, would you like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Houseman, second by Kadanko, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, contract for engineering services, new marina building.
Okay, this will be presented by Dave Lino, the Marina Manager.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, we can't see you just yet. I think the Vlad is completing the reboot on the machine, well, let's see.
Okay, got it. So, because I can see you, which is odd, but okay. Okay, there's 2 engineering proposals down there, contracts. They're actually kind of reversed in the packet. There's one that the dollar amount, I think, is 14,300. That's actually the second contract we want to talk about. The first one is for 9,500, which I think is page 8 and 9 in the packet, or the packet I have. In any case, the first one for the $9,500. If you recall, last month you approved our schematic design architect contract when we moved into phase 2, and this goes with phase 2. It's an engineering so they can do the structural studies. One of the things that came up, we had Stantec do the property survey, and when we got that back, we realized or found out that the sewer effluent outfall pipe actually runs under the corner, the front corner office building, and then from there, like several thousand feet out into the bay where it then discharges. So that sewer line runs right under the current office. So that obviously needed to do some structural engineering changes and evaluation. So that's what that is. That's what the $9,500 is for, to make sure they can put the building where it was, and they were able to move it a little bit, but not far enough that it's still going to be over the top of that sewer line, if you will, or that discharge line. So we need to do some studies on that. The second contract for the 14,300 is for the next phase of the agreement that would generate the construction documents and everything as this architect is going through their next phase. So that's what the 2 contracts are for.
Okay.
So Bridget, I believe these came out of the Marine Committee, correct? They recommended approval?
Yes, so we've got, you know, you have your architects and then you have your engineering firm come in and they take all the schematics that the architects have. And they go through the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing, and make sure that all of the engineering works, that our sewer output, that our water intake, what our levels are at. I mean, how much electricity we like, all of those things, so that the village will have all that information before we go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we accept these.
Okay, motion by Kadanko,
Second.
second by Houseman, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, the boardwalk
Okay, so
wood purchase.
this is page 131 in your packet. Dave, since you're still on the call, do you want to just explain that real quickly?
Sure. If you recall, back in October, we put bids out to replace the boardwalk where we're going to do driven sheet steel into the lake bed. We're going to concrete over the top of it to replace it. we had a proposal that was accepted back in April, and unfortunately, we couldn't get the DNR permit in time to do it in April. But the cost at that point in time was $229,000. When we had to go out for bid again in October for the same project, the bids came back anywhere from $380,000 up to $480,000. I mean, totally different than what we had gotten before. So we were kind of befuddled by that, but we talked to all the vendors. We were trying to decide what happened and why. And long story short, we had Mike Carr, our design engineer on the marine side of things, work with us for the last month to determine how we should move forward, because we still have this project. The money's still in the budget for this year for 2025. And he did some research and we looked into it and determined that we're going to look at purchasing a type of wood product to replace the wood top. And it's called Ipe or Ipe. It's spelled IPE, but the wood is phonetically pronounced as Ipe. It's a Brazilian ironwood that is used in a lot of marine environments, particularly through the Caribbean. It's also used in a lot of commercial areas throughout the United States. It's the boardwalk in Atlantic City. It's the boardwalk in Coney Island. They use it at Navy Pier. And what it is, it's this type of wood that it's so dense, it's got the same fire rating as a sheet of steel or a concrete wall. It's a wood that doesn't float. I mean, it's very heavy. If you put it in water, it just sinks. But it's got an 80-year life expectancy, and there's no annual maintenance that has to be done. It doesn't have to be sealed. None of that has to occur. Once it's installed, originally when it would be delivered, it would be a nice mahogany brown and kind of look like teak. But if you don't seal it or anything, and everybody says don't seal it in a marine environment, after a year or two, it will gray up. It'll look like the rest of the boardwalks, and it'll look like the rest of the piers. They'll all match in color. But it's expensive to start with. But we went to 4 different companies. We got all the information from them as to what the cost and how we'd have to get it here. The issue with having to do this now, or this request now for approval, is we're in the Northern Hemisphere. It comes from Brazil, the Southern Hemisphere. So as we move into fall and winter, they're moving into spring and summer. So they cut all the wood in the winter and they ship it all in the spring. So the shipping season for this particular wood is going to be in the next couple of weeks. And we can order it now, pay for it and order it now, and it'll be shipped to one of the 4 companies that we pick to have it shipped, and they will store it and deliver it when we're ready to proceed. Now, the other unique thing about this is it can be done any time of the year. So we have talked to several local people that we could use as we would be the general contractor in this. So we would buy the material and have somebody else install it. There are several people in the area that are willing to install it and have worked with this particular wood before in the past. And so we can, once we get the material, we could start yet this fall, or we could choose to wait till the spring. But they anticipate it'd probably take about 2 weeks to redo the top. And so depending upon when we got it, if the weather was if we weren't all snowed in and all iced up, we could still start to put it yet this fall or in the early winter. And it's a type of material that can be done year round, regardless of what the weather conditions are. So the 4 proposals we got, they're between $95,000 and $100,000 for the material. And this covers a 22-foot wide, 165-foot long boardwalk is what it is. And so the Marina Committee approved not to exceed $110,000 for the purchase of the wood. So that's what we're asking for, is for you to approve us to go ahead and proceed with the purchase of this so it can be purchased and gotten here within the next couple of weeks.
And Dave, just to clarify for anybody listening, this is all paid with user fees from the marina, is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Just clarify for anyone listening, this is to be paid for with the user
Yes,
fees.
yes, this is paid for 100% by the marina. There's no village taxpayers or taxes involved in it. It all comes from the proceeds of the marina in its yearly operations. And just a reminder, this was already budgeted for this year, and so it's still sitting there in the budget and available money-wise.
So when you initially looked into this last year, this was going to be less expensive to do the concrete, Dave? And this.
Yes, that's correct.
Obviously hit that hiccup, and now this ends up being a more economic option. I think everybody had preferred the boardwalk be a boardwalk anyway, but it was a cost consideration.
Right, right. And with this, it will be a board, right? A board will be a board. And it should end up looking like the rest of the marina would does, in a year or two after it's installed.
Dave, I also believe you spoke to one of our resident experts in lumber about this to get his input.
Yes, we have a gentleman who retired from this business, and the rest of his family now operates it, I think down in the Chicago area. And they are one of the 4 people that we got the proposals from, but they gave us a lot of information as we researched this and gave us a lot of things to think about. There's 2 ways to mount this particular type of wood, and that's the issue that we're discussing now is, do we mount it by drilling it and plugging it, or do we mount it by putting clips in like a laminated floor? You can do it either way, and we're just trying to decide what the best way to do it is that'll give us the best long-term result.
Okay. Was that-
You Heidler?
Yes, it's Skip Heidler.
Yes, that was Skip, right, right. Heidler Hardwood, yes.
Talk to him about woods.
But he is retired from it. His nephew has taken the business over.
Sure. So I just thought I would want to point out that you reached out to somebody that I think everybody here is familiar with, that had some.
Yep. And I should, all the companies that we talked to, they said for this particular installation and for the use that we're talking about, they all say this would be a great product for that. That would take the wear and tear, and we wouldn't have to do any maintenance on it for many, 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 many years.
You need a motion for this?
Yeah. Unless there's any other questions. we could-
I make a motion to accept this.
Motion by Mark,
Second,
second by Franco, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank-
Motion-
Thank you, everyone. I have one other thing just to mention to you. I know you are going to approve later on all the new fee schedules. And tonight, when I was sitting here going through this in the hotel room, I realized that we put the wrong fee schedule in for the marina. What's in the packet is 2025. So we must have sent the wrong one for 2026. So we'll have to do 2026 at the next meeting. Just FYI.
All right. And 6H, the contractor of update zoning map, Bay Lakes Regional Planning Commission.
Okay, so as the packet explains, with land use planning, when you you're required to adopt a new land use plan every so many years, and then the state requires that within 1 year of adopting that plan, you have to start making your decisions consistent with that plan. So part of that is having a zoning map that matches your adopted land use map. So this is a contract with Bay Lake Regional Planning Commission to help us update the zoning map.
Questions on this?
Is this something that's done in every village? I mean, have we done this before?
Update the,
Paid someone to update the zoning map, I think? I guess
yeah,
I've not come across it, but I've also not been involved in that other villages.
I wasn't here when Sister Ray did it the last time, but every community I've ever worked in, unless you have GIS staff on staff, you're paying somebody to update.
Okay.
We can't do it in-house because we don't have the software or, Megan knows GIS pretty well that she could probably help, but she's our utility director, so.
Oh, sure. I didn't know if it was if you go to like the Door County map, then I know you can zoom in in different areas. I kind of just assumed that they did it for everybody, honestly.
No.
Okay.
and what's prompting us to do it now? Just we haven't done it in a long time, and it just.
The
housekeeping.
state, because the state requires us to have it done by, I think we adopted our plan in April. So it all has to be done and implemented by April.
It's a comprehensive use plan.
Okay.
Triggers this.
Thank you.
I will mention that I did have an issue with it because I wanted to see a fee schedule on there. Julia said that's very standard not to see that on there. That was where one concern I had with it, but everybody else was good with it. Do they have a fee schedule? I mean, we have a larger agreement lately. I mean,
We have an agreement. We are a member of Bay Lake Regional Planning, so they help us with services. They're considered another unit of government, so they're a little different than if you were contracting with like McMahon or somebody like that. So their contracts are usually a lump sum, what they're gonna charge, not to exceed amount. That's why their contracts look a little different than a engineer or a consultant.
Sure. Any other questions?
So I honestly am familiar with that. We're leading on for this, Julie.
Well, we're gonna try and see what we can get done in a month, but, I think the actual adoption might fall into January, but we're gonna see what we can get done at the plan commission next week, I think, is on the agenda, and then in December.
We're gonna need a consultant to do this no matter what, that's
Right,
a given.
right, okay.
Would you like to make a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Bertle. Second by White, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, intergovernmental agreement, streets and services of Door County Highway Department.
Okay, this is, standard. We have this agreement with the highway department. We have to approve it every 2 years, and it is for them to help us with road services. They plow our snow, they have the street sweeper, so we have a, arrangement with them to help us.
I have one question about this.
Sure.
I didn't see, or maybe I missed it. You know, when, motorists hit a deer, highway department removes the deer,
Right?
but I didn't see it in here. Am I missing that?
It's,
Under something else or?
let me just see if I can see where they probably put that. I think it's just part of their, what they do for us. I don't think they detail everything in there.
Or they may not charge us for it. There, it also states on page 139, town chairman. We don't have a town chairman.
Right, they sent, this is the agreement that they sent us. I could ask that it be very specific to the village. Most of their services provided to the towns, and I think that's probably why you're seeing a lot of references to town government.
Just like a lot of common, Door County, and there's villages.
So when we budget for this, it says it's in accordance with the Uniform Cost Accounting Manual with Wisconsin Highway Departments. We just base it on last year
Right.
and plan an increase or just flat or.
If there is gonna be an increase, they typically tell us that. Otherwise, we just budget it as the same as it was.
An increase in hourly wage, meaning, or whatever they're charging,
Whatever they anticipate.
whatever the
contract to
Uniform
be.
Cost Accounting Manual. Right? That's how we're supposed to be paid for. vendor.
Right, and they tell us, I don't know offhand, Louise, what
Okay.
that contracted amount is that we have in the budget,
Okay,
but we keep it the same unless they notify us that it's expected.
okay, and it's usually in that neighborhood. Okay,
It's the same every year. Sometimes we get close to using it all. Sometimes if it doesn't snow a lot, we've only used half. But we still budget the same dollar amount
Yeah.
every year.
Okay.
Give or take.
okay, and then that goes into the unrestricted reserves. Okay,
Right.
gotcha. Okay.
Right.
So moved.
Motion by Houston,
Second.
second by White, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Ice rink, release matching funds.
And so as you know, we had told the Friends of the Ice Rink, Friends of the Sister Bay Ice Rink, Inc., that we would contribute $500,000 towards the construction of a new ice rink, provided they had matching funds. They now have those matching funds. So the question came up, when do we release the 500,000? As staff, we can't just do that. We also don't have a contract with them, so it's something that goes to the board to say, do you want to release it now? Or do you want to release it when our agreements with them are valid? So if you recall, maybe a couple months ago, we changed the lease and the operating agreement to say they were effective in April. So the question is, do you release it now or do you wait till April? Or some other time? The board feels that.
Have they signed them already?
They have signed them.
Yeah, they've got more than $500,000. Yeah, I would say we release them.
Yeah, I agree.
I disagree.
Do you have a reason?
Yeah, I would like to see the operational agreement and the lease all in effect
I think we,
in April.
well, what about for them to get going on building and
I
contracts?
think we should have something in concrete writing
Yeah.
now.
We do, it just doesn't, it's not dated till April.
Well, they signed and dated it.
So
right?
it's done, it started in April,
Both
we saw it.
So I think the only, is the concern, Patrice, what if they don't proceed with it?
Yeah,
And then
what
have
if
the money.
there's, yeah, what if our productions out of it, something happens.
That could be included in a motion, that, it's a
I'll
good,
make a motion to, simply release the funds.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by House, second by Karanka. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion carries. Okay, 6. Okay, bylaw miscellaneous amendments.
okay, so, these were, Denise had, presented a bunch of them, some notes that she gave me, and I tried to do my best to incorporate them into the bylaws, the way I understood her concerns were, and then I also have put some, amendments in here that, staff, that staff had questions on as well. So I think we should go through them one by one.
I take exception
I have one question here. I just want to confirm, Patrice, you did, actually want this on the agenda. That was your request? I just want to confirm based on what we just heard a few minutes ago.
No, I did have wanted on.
You did, okay, I just want to establish that. Okay,
But what I read is Patrice wanted to discuss executive session remotely. And then one board member made a lot of changes with our administrator. I am fine to strengthen our bylaws at any moment. But for one of us, any of us, to do this on their own and have it in this format, without it being open discussion and ideas shared and forced one, not forced one way, like this isn't how governance should work things.
But this is, these were just my ideas. and
Well, how
we're
about you
gonna
give
do-
us the ideas before you put them in a format and we collectively come up with some? I'm sure there's great ideas in here, but I don't like the process.
But there's no committee to deal with.
And nobody asked for all the changes to the bylaws. You and Patrice asked for changes about closed session.
Because when I was going through it. And then things just kept,
That's okay, but that's not the process that governing with 7 people is effective of doing.
well, how do we do it then?
One person sitting with one administrator. I don't think that's how we
I didn't
decide the
sit down.
bylaws.
We didn't
Or
sit
work
down
with, maybe you didn't sit, one person working with, I don't care who that person is. That's not transparent. This should be, let's put an agenda item and let's talk about holes in our bylaws and share ideas. But for one person to have our administrator actually write it without us giving input, that is not transparent government.
That's how we do so many.
I think it's time we change that. I think it's time we change that. One
I mean,
person,
it's presented to the entire board, or something, and we sit and discuss the good, the bad, what we like, what we don't.
changes to a lot of the bylaws. 20-some pages. Wasn't what Patrice asked for. You asked for this, don't you? You need 2 board members to put that on an agenda item.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what Patrice signed her name on for.
So just to clarify, okay, so a lot of times when we're amending bylaws, I'm bringing them forward where Nate is, but if if trustees want it brought forward, they have different rules. So you would either bring it up at a previous meeting and say, hey, let's look at the bylaws next month, or 2 would say, hey, I want to put it on the agenda to look at the bylaws.
I'm all for that.
And
Let's have
that's,
those discussions, but
and
to
then-
actually have it, all that time put into changing it, written, without us saying, let's do this. I think that's too far.
well,
That's too far for one of us to step.
that's normally how it is done, like if Nate would have changes, I would type them up, put them in here. So everyone can see how it would be worded, and then we discuss them, so they've always come to them in this format. as proposed.
This seems exceptional.
Part of your concern, Chad, is you've got, 3 days to look at this, and that's
Yeah.
why having it as mentioned as an agenda item for a future meeting. Would make that a little bit more so that if other people wanted to put their input in there.
Yeah, read through the bylaws. Let's strengthen these things. I'm all for that. I don't like this process though. I'm more than happy since we brought it up in a previous meeting about closed session. And we've all discussed it and there was consensus that we discuss a way for remote people to be in closed session. I'm all for us discussing that right now. Because we've all had consensus and said, let's talk about this. The rest of this, I've never had that conversation unless you guys had in October. Maybe you did. But I don't remember that.
We did.
That's going too far.
Okay, I didn't know it was too far because it's what we've always done. I wrote the original bylaws umpteen jillion years ago. So.
Like I'm saying,
I'm
there might be
sorry.
good in here, but it just seems one person working with an administrator, and I think this is stuff that we do in the public eye. With
So I
what,
would
yeah,
move that
This
these-
is-
without having somebody rewrite them already.
So I think there's another,
Can I move that that this agenda item be moved to next month? And allow the board an opportunity for review? And maybe we take a broader look at the. I don't know.
If you table something, how long can something be tabled for?
Depends if you're tabling or postponing. So if you table it, you're putting it on a table until you decide to take it off. If you postpone it, it's at.
Move the table, I move the table this item. I'm not saying we shouldn't, I'm all for it, but this is a lot. This is a lot.
So do you know when you'd want to revisit it?
I mean,
I would say it's a lengthy discussion and I mean, if we talk about it tonight, it's gonna be a long one. So, maybe it's a good idea for us to have an opportunity to read through it. It always is.
well, I would like a different form.
Everybody already read through it. It's part of the packet.
Yes, I read through it, but I would like us to go through the bylaws in a collective way, look for holes, and then collectively, when consensus say, yeah, we should strengthen that and not, rather than have one person trying to decide that for us, because this forms bias.
I didn't.
I'm not saying you did it to hurt or did it nefariously, but this forms bias. When you write it in like this, it forms bias. It's,
well,
it form,
let me suggest that we table this until February, because we're gonna have a new administrator. Let's get their input on here too, instead of having this come into effect. Right when a new administrator comes in there, and Teresa, I'd love to have a conversation with you, get some of your ideas, so we can get some of that, your closed session concerns, so we can work through that, so I'll reach out.
if we
to
wanna
you.
address goals
Between now and
now, I
then-
think we can.
I,
We've all consensusly agreed that we need to work on that. The other stuff, we've never had a conversation about.
okay,
So I just want to clarify Robert's Rules of Order and our own bylaws. Robert's Rule says 2 trustees can put something on an agenda, then so do our bylaws, okay? So just so everybody's on the same page with that, that if 2 people say, I want to put it on the agenda, it goes on.
But did Kurt wanna put the last item on the agenda? He just said he
That's what
didn't.
did.
Actually, it was after our plan commission meeting, Kurt said, yes, but you did, but you probably.
And that's fair,
Clearly
and that
don't
mistakes happen, that's fair.
I think that's a clarification we can make.
Yeah.
So, yes, Bridget.
And maybe in the future, if 2 people, and I think that's totally fine for 2 people to put an agenda item on, that seems fair, because if, that when things get on, that maybe not everybody would have put on there. Maybe in the future, if you're gonna go through and amend a large document that affects a lot of people, maybe the agenda item is, hey, we put this on here, we wanna know if it's okay, we would like to go through and amend the bylaws. Over the next month, if everyone can review those and bring your ideas to the table so that they're on the next meeting. I mean, give a notice so we can all look through it. And see if there's any changes we would make also, like give a heads up instead of it just.
This looks like a lot of work was done here that we weren't directing somebody to do this work. This is
I
a
would
lot.
tell you-
The notification,
Most-
right?
I cannot recall a time where a trustee has said, I would like something added to the agenda, and I've said no. This is a web method to force it, and I get why it's in the bylaws, and I think it should be in there. But this also could have been a conversation saying, hey, can we look at this? And
Yeah.
it wasn't, it was Julie informed me, and then that's how it should be. It was that these 2 trustees wanted this on the agenda, and then it's on the agenda.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend anybody. It's the way that it has been done since we had bylaws.
So, but
So we're suggesting maybe it's redundant.
That's fine.
let's revisit.
Is
this.
there something that we can for us? The clerk had some changes. And is there anything else pertaining to closed session that we have talked about before that could be addressed tonight?
So is it the clerk's change is the posting?
Well, yeah, and I think there was another one, yeah, if you wanna discuss Patrice's and the clerks, but not Berto's, we can do that.
Well, the clerk's is item 6 under agendas, correct?
I think if we're gonna deal with this, we're gonna, they're then gonna have to. Ask this as a resolution, I think we do it once.
When it comes to the clerk stuff, is there something pressing that's really flawed that is hurting us right now? Because if there is, I'm okay, then let's wait. Let's wait until we have time to,
And there's some,
Yeah, if you've read it, you'll see what the concerns were.
I mean, I've read through it, but it didn't seem like there was anything stopping us from functioning right now and things weren't terrible. So, yeah.
I think there was one that has been questioned in the past, I don't know how pressing it is. 21C, clerk, please identify whether executive session will be allowed via Zoom. I think that's come up a couple times.
it has,
Should we do that one right now at least, because that affects every meeting? Or if you don't want to, that's fine.
Was there any
That was the only one that seemed sort of.
There's no state statute that,
no, there's not a state statute
That's
on that,
that, right?
that's a village bylaw issue, and that is. As the village bylaw state right now, you have to get permission to participate in a village meeting from the village president ahead of time. If you are permitted to join the meeting, you're able to participate in all of the meeting unless there's a conversation ahead of time. So I talked to Randy about this when Bridget had joined a closed session, she joined the meeting, I think that was August.
Yeah, I was out of town. There was a closed session, so I was not allowed to attend because I was via Zoom, which is fine.
Yeah, I had a conversation with you, I said, hey, I'll let you in the meeting, but I don't want you to participate in closed session via Zoom.
Mhm.
Because that's what it has been in the past, and we've got to treat everybody the same.
Right.
I
See,
understand.
I disagree with your statement that if somebody's zooming in, they have to get your permission. I don't see that written in the.
Why are
bylaws.
Zoom participants excluded, trustees?
My answer would be that I've been on Zoom calls, I've been not on a Zoom call with trustees and on Zoom calls with trustees, and I hear someone else in the room with the trustee.
I've had more than,
Yeah.
there's
That
been
is
more than
not
one
closed.
trustee that's reported that in closed session.
Yes.
That is not
And that's
closed.
that is the change in my
So
opinion on that, is I've heard it from more than one trustee.
our residents and taxpayers,
With Patrice, though, didn't you read something at a meeting? Didn't you have something from Randy saying you had to be allowed in the closed session even though you were on Zoom?
Because I didn't have advance notice that I was gonna be cut out of the meeting, cut out of the closed session.
but if it's in the
But-
bylaws, then everybody would know.
You also didn't have permission to join the meeting. And that's something that, talking to Randy
Permission to
said,
Join the closed session.
no, the meeting. You didn't get approval ahead of time. You didn't say, hey, I'm going to be at the meeting remotely.
So do we have, if this is a discussion about, can someone join closed, permission or not? Via Zoom.
I always got clearance with Julie, at least, if I didn't get it with you, about joining the meeting Zoom. I never
Julie?
just showed up Zoom with no notice.
The bylaws say it has to be, I think it's the clerk or the administrator.
But if there's a bylaw that states that you cannot join a Zoomed closed session board meeting,
There's not a
It
bylaw
doesn't
that says
sound
that.
I know, but
But
if
that
we
is-
made one.
Oh, right.
As I had a conversation with
Because
Randy,
when I
Randy
realized someone
agreed
else
with
was
that.
in the room at that, during that meeting, I didn't say anything else. Cause I don't know who else is listening.
So the other thing is, as far as posting agendas, the clerk, noticed that the laws have changed. You no longer have to post in 3 places. So she had a question on that as well. Then we found some inconsistencies in some of the bylaws, or like with the parking task force. One, the resolution says they elect the chair and the vice chair, but yet it doesn't, that's not what happened, and that's not what our bylaws say, so it's also addressing a lot of those inconsistencies.
Yes.
Today, we're just talking about
Closed session.
what?
So one of the things that I was going to ask Randy about that other places have done is if you sign a sworn affidavit, you can participate in Zoom. In closed session Zoom. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. That, I would be okay with that. Cause I am very concerned about, I shouldn't say it was just that one report from trustees. There was also a lot of information that had gone out and closed that I heard back from people in the public, and that was very concerning to me. And I don't know where that came from, and I will never know where that came from. But I'm looking to try and protect the village. And if you are on a remote end of a Zoom call, you don't know who is there, anybody that hears that has got no requirement to keep that private. There's no requirement on there, so I think that if we want to do that, and we're also saying that you are compelled to have Zoom on your meetings and allows remote participation by all trustees in Zoom meetings. If we want to compel it in bylaws, I think we need a sworn affidavit. That's where I would look at for protecting the village.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of protection. We've been in these meetings where there, we've witnessed this.
So it's one or the other, depends on what,
So-
how we wanna put it in.
Do we, I mean, this is something I've investigated. I haven't talked to Randy about because I'm not gonna start spending money on consulting the attorney until I know it's something that the village wants to do.
I wanna keep closed session closed.
Yeah.
So however we can do
And
that,
I
I assume.
agree with that also, but. There, there's a lot of leaking that goes on from this village.
I'm just talking about Zoom. That's
Right.
all. We have no control over Zoom. Zippo. Where they are, you can put any background in there. I'm not suggesting that anybody's gonna do that, for heaven's sake, but we need to have
Another level
could we just have a policy in place?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
I have no problem.
So do we want to look and see what other places are doing? I mean, I know
What do we wanna do?
I-
I mean,
I would say no closed session Zoom. You participate in
Yeah.
the entire meeting, and then when it goes into closed session, you are off as everyone else does.
I like the affidavit.
I go either way, I don't care.
yeah, I go either way too.
I have a slight preference for what Bridget's saying, but I'm trying to look and trying to find a way to let this happen. That affidavit is something that I thought was reasonable.
Okay, so we're affidavit,
Okay.
I don't care, so we could do affidavit. You think pure, not in. How about you?
I would prefer not in.
All right, so we're 3-2.
Okay.
Except, well, Patrice and Kurt.
Let's hear from everybody, Louise. Patrice?
So the affidavit, is that something that we all would just sign in advance of?
You sign it once
Yeah.
and,
For a few,
yeah,
It honestly doesn't matter to me, that one instance that when it happened to me, I was surprised, shocked, and I didn't understand what's going on. I just got turned off.
and I didn't know what was happening ahead of that meeting, and I mean, Patrice, you also reached out to Randy, and I had already reached out to Randy, Julie had reached out to Randy. I don't take that, it's not that I didn't take that seriously, I mean, there's a reason why these conversations have been had to find some of this information out, and I've tried to be
Maybe you should
consistent.
say in the bylaws that if you can't participate in a closed session.
That's one of the two options
Yeah,
we're going for
you
right
know,
now.
make it like really clear,
I think that
instead
would be
of
great.
getting permission, advanced permission or.
So
As long as we all understand how it works.
Yes,
So the vote is either you vote for pre-signing an affidavit saying that you won't have anyone else in the room, won't disclose anything, yada, yada, yada. Or you just don't participate in closed sessions through via Zoom. So those are kind of the two options on the table.
I think for now, let's not participate in a closed session via Zoom. And if we want to get more information about what that affidavit means and how it works. What the ramifications, protections, all that is, because I don't understand
Yeah.
legality.
This is something
And I'd rather have a solution today. Not saying we can't change that solution down the road. So, Louise, I switched my mind.
Okay, so moved.
Okay. So do we want to actually amend the bylaws, bring it to a resolution next month, or I don't think that we need to do that as long as I will make sure we comply with what we've just said.
Yeah.
I will do my part on that.
And then we can put it in, and then maybe in the meantime, maybe it's an affidavit when we really go through these bylaws to strengthen them. Maybe we get more information and that's what we choose to put in the bylaws. For as long as we have consensus on how we're gonna operate closed session via Zoom, Yeah, I don't think we have to make.
Yeah.
But it's also, let's, I know Kurt usually has so much to say, but you wanna give
I don't have
Kurt a
lot to
chance.
say, man, I'm here regardless of
It
it,
doesn't know how to use Zoom.
huh? I don't show up on Zoom, I show up here,
Amen. Amen.
Show up as non-content.
huh?
Yeah,
So we're tabling everything until
yeah, we'll
December?
revisit them. Okay.
Just clarification, when is it been tabled until?
Did you say December or?
February.
You'll have to make a motion to take it off, if you like that.
Okay, so do we need a mo, so
And
you
we
made a
can
motion to table?
postpone it instead, so we don't have to go through that rigmarole.
Good with that.
Postpone it means you're gonna talk about it at the next meeting.
Oh. Okay. I think that's fine.
I'm still gonna make a motion on the table it because I don't
Table
feel like.
February
next
second.
week is enough.
February 2026, motion by Kadanko,
Second.
second by Hassan, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
No,
opposed, no. So who,
I'm opposed.
Bridget, were you opposed?
Mhm.
I'm,
Okay. So Denise was opposed. Okay. 6L. 2026 fee study.
So there's a lot in the staff report on this. As you can see, I've included what has come out of the committees. We've been talking about this, I think we began talking about the fees, it was in June. The bulleted are the ones that came out of the committees that we received. And then, I went on to also talk about some of the other issues that we are having. You can see there's many pages of citations in the code that talk about fees and they're incorrect. So these, should be addressed by amending the code. And if they require a dollar amount that is not listed on the fee schedule, then that will have to come back to you at a later date. One of my goals was to go through these, before I left. And you can see it's pretty extensive. I'm not gonna have time to do it. But I wanted to bring it to your attention that those are the areas that talk about fees that, are in error, basically, in your code.
What page is that, Angela, the part there?
Everything begins on page 162.
Oh, no, I got the beginning, but what's the part that's, where you have the list?
So if you look on page 163, you'll see that in the vehicles and parking, it talks about a penalty of $100 plus costs. 58.63 talks about first offense, $75, second 100. That's what your code says. That doesn't match your fee schedules.
Yeah.
And then one of the issues, of course, is whenever you put that dollar amount in a code, then you have to amend the code when your fee schedule changes. It's easier that they all just say it's for the fee schedule adopted by the board, and then you only have to change that fee schedule.
Okay.
So we need to bring those codes into compliance, so they all say that. And then annually or twice a year, you're supposed to get your fee schedule, you just change that fee schedule and everything's good.
That sounds great.
So changing into a reference to the fee schedule as well.
Right, and
Okay.
we started doing that on some of them, and have not been able to get through the entire municipal code.
So
And
with
then-
time being short, then is this something you're gonna leave for the new administrator?
I think I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna
Okay.
continue to work on it, but I'm not gonna get it all done by your December meeting. But as far as page 162, those came out of the committee, those we could change on the fee. If we agreed those are changes, that would come forward in a resolution with the fee schedule next month. So that those sections, so those fees are changed as the committees had one.
And then there's also the Marina's fee schedule, the 26 fee schedule.
Yeah, they must have done that recently. I haven't been at their last two meetings. I know earlier I had asked if there was a change and at that time there wasn't, but, we can bring that, we can take their changes and include that on the amended fee schedule we bring forward in December.
Sure, quick question. Did inspection specialist send you schedule?
So inspection specialists told me that they were gonna at first they said, when I asked them this summer, they were not gonna have changes. Then I talked to them a couple weeks ago, they said they were, but they never did give us any changes. So right now their fees would stay the same.
I know you had talked in the meeting past, and maybe this is September, about how we need to have streamlined this so staff can do this, because I know when John went through the process of siding Husby's, you know, it was a $2,000 to go to the plan when you're replacing siding, replacing windows. You're not rebuilding something, you're not changing the structure, you're not doing this, and to him, that was just like, I mean, and John's a good guy, but he's like, this makes no sense, right? Yes, he altered the top of the building. So yes, get a building permit, we put some electrical in, like, there was, yes, fair to have a building permit, there was a couple little changes, but we're talking windows and siding. And then to move a sign 10 feet up and then have to pay another 500 fees for that. The process seemed like it could be avoidance of some of the docket on planning commission, because that isn't like that everywhere.
Right.
And you had told us that we need to start, or one of the things you recommended was to take some of this common sense stuff away from plan and let staff do it. Because that shouldn't cost $2,000 to reside a building and change your windows. That should be free. We should like people to do that stuff around there.
So plan commission has started to discuss amending the code, other amendments that we saw today. They had talked last month about, for example, change of use in Country Walk Mall, why, rather than have them continue to come in, pay $1,500. That's one of the things that they would change in the code. So they're just, if it's on the agenda next week, that, they're looking at similar things to see how can they streamline those processes. And also save the developer or the applicant money if it's something that, you know, some things that come, it's just like motion to approve second. So they're looking at that and what they can do with it. I don't know what they're gonna do with site plan review and architectural review. We have to have a conversation on that.
And I know it's gonna take a long time, and I know it's cumbersome, and I don't expect this to be changed overnight, but I think we all recognize, many of us here. You know, building a new building is one thing, right? But even that, building a home doesn't have to go to plan, right? You can literally build a home in this village and it doesn't have to go to plan.
There's a few exceptions,
Few
but
exceptions.
normally, no.
But to reside your building and put windows in, you had to go to plan. You know, we need to figure that out. We need to streamline it. I'm not saying we need to allow people to do anything they want to do. That's why we have code. But we definitely need to make the crime, so to speak, of siding and windows match the punishment of $2,000 to get that done. That just makes no sense. That's not, it doesn't take $2,000 worth of time. It doesn't. And some of the stuff probably takes $10,000 worth of time, right? I get that, like, and how you go about that and how that's figured out, I don't know, but I know there's a lot of sentiment that how we're doing it now doesn't seem very equitable. And it seems cumbersome, and it seems delayed oftentimes over some of this stuff.
You're right. Some are much easier and quicker than others, and some are very labor intensive the goal is to hopefully have that all balanced out, of course. With planning, it gets a little more difficult because you also have to look at other codes. So like if you have a code that assigns the plan commission as your historic preservation committee or as your architectural review committee, those codes have to be changed as well if you're going to be changing processes like that. So it's part of a bigger process, but it's something that I believe they're going to be looking at when we start talking about those other amendments.
Okay.
That are
Also, and then I just wanted to,
Not without you, we won't be.
I looked for that $767.50 parking fine in here and I couldn't find it. Where is that $500 parking fee for somebody parking on their own property? I just wanted to, you obviously know this is the wall I will die.
Are you talking about,
I don't see it in the
short-term
fee.
rental?
Yeah, I don't see how. I don't see it in here,
Is that on 163?
and I may have missed it.
Right, so that's a good example of how that was in the short-term rental code, what a first-time offense was, second-time offense, third offense, and we put it in here. So that's gonna be under your, let me just find a page for you. So that is under page 175, citations, violations of municipal code.
And where is parking?
It's a violation,
So any violation within that can be
If you were-
that much discrepancy.
right? If you are a short-term rental operator, you're gonna go with the codes in chapter 18.
Yeah.
And those codes say there's a range that you charge.
So if we're gonna charge that range. In disorderly conduct's only $100, you think maybe it's a little out of line? Like literally disorderly conduct,
So that's a question for us, not for Julian.
no, yeah, I'm asking us.
We've asked.
Yeah, disorderly conduct is with your court fees, $263.50, which is considerably less than somebody parking their own grass.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not with court fees still. I mean, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that 263.50 ends up being 767.50. I know because of one nuisance, I'm looking at the nuisance. Nuisance code five, because I've been following one, particularly the village is involved with, and I believe that total was 767.50 now.
That's for a $500 fine. That's what it ends up.
Yeah, so a normal disorderly conduct would be our fee or our forfeiture is $100. That's what we're trying to get. But when you add on all the county's fees, $100 fine, so to speak, ends up being $263.50. And Bridget, you're correct. If somebody is charged $767.50, that means they had a $500
Yep.
forfeiture or fine.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
so parking on a short-term rental in the wrong spot and you get $500, that's also the same charge for willfully discharging a septic tank in the town.
Yeah, we
So
gotta get
these
these.
things aren't the same.
We have a lot of work here,
Yeah.
and I don't expect us to solve these here, but. And I'm probably the one most likely to get into disorderly conduct, so let's make that one higher and make parking on grass a little less, I. It's gonna take time, and I don't need to solve this, but I know my point has been made, and I'm gonna keep making my point, let's just make this. The crime fit the punishment, punishment fit the crime, whatever, because a lot of these are out of whack, and it's creating divisions, and it's creating. It's creating a feeling that the village is here and the people are here, and my goal is to try to let them be together again, because a lot of people don't feel that way. And I think we can go a long way here.
So do you want to move forward with the ones that the committees have identified?
I had one quick question about that, and that has to do with the sandwich boards. Why does non-changeable, what's changeable or non-changeable script have to do with I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I remember sandwich boards very well. Denise has heard me bring it up many times over the years.
I just want to know
The initial logic on there was, that this was the second revision of this, the second major revision of the sandwich code, I think that's what it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, but the thought was, we don't want people to just put signs out that are extensions of their existing signs. But if they're gonna make changes to it, and it's actually going to be changed information on a daily basis, that's different.
What the typical nature of what a sandwich board had been intended for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, today's special is this.
I understand that.
So that's why those two are different, that's why we specified the difference.
So a changeable script is $50. Non-changeable is $100 because it's like another sign because it never changes. Was that the?
Right, and
Thank
then
you.
it's included in the entire signage for that business, so it takes, so there's more staff work in determining if that's allowed than one that doesn't go against the signage that you're allowed.
Cause you have to go through, you have to count, you have to measure all the signage.
Okay,
on the
so,
building, how big
and then for the
walls,
regular
all
sign
sorts of
permit
things.
fee, we're increasing it anywhere from 50 to 100%.
What
Because
page
that
are
is
we
what
on?
has been identified that
162.
is taking staff's
162.
most of their time.
Oh, we'll just go.
I'd have to see the form and see why it takes so long, but I think that's something we could probably figure, maybe try to.
We also.
The admin piece of it, I mean, with technology. Would be, but we've talked about that before.
Julie also, looked at other communities also.
Right, we looked at, we looked at county, we looked at the village of Yukon. it's another one we have here, Village of Egg Harbor, to see what they charge.
Yeah.
Then, and they make that some distinctions, so we try to become more in line with the other communities.
Sure, okay.
There's also a comment, I think, by one of the trustees that they did feel our sign permits were too low because advertising is something that people are willing to pay for because they understand the value of it. So we're like, well, instead of the taxpayer paying for these sign reviews, the business probably should be paying for their own sign, which is what you're supposed to do, right? You want the fees to actually cover the cost of doing that service and the taxpayer not covering.
Yeah, the cost of whatever the admin is, and if we could try to make that a little bit more efficient with technology, that would be great. Okay, I just want to understand the distinction between changeable script and non-changeable. I didn't understand. Okay,
Is it a one-time fee for a sign permit or an annual fee?
That's a one-time, it used to be annual and the plan commission changed it to a one-time.
One time, well, I think that's fair
Okay.
enough. Sorry.
Yes.
I had a quick question on the Parks Committee proposal for. Let's see, the gazebo rent to increase from $75 to $150 per day and the village hall fee at $200 per day. Did Parks feel that was inhibitive to anyone renting the gazebo at all?
No, because there's more space now with the addition.
But do you think anybody going to the beach, I mean, is that affordable, $150 to rent it for the day?
I think the balance on there, that I believe this came up with Parks, was you're taking it away from public usage. So it's balancing out the taking it away from public usage versus the value to the village of giving them money. I mean, that's where it really came into play, was on the larger rentals like the Marina Park and house. That was more significant, but
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things we balanced on that.
On that note, Village Hall at 200 a day, fine, but we need to have a resident rate and gazebo as well. When I was a young single father, having my kids' birthday parties there was so cheap. Yeah, I had to clean it up. Heidi give me the key and I'd sweep after, and it was wonderful. Mike Termini is having his kids' party there on Monday. I don't want him to pay $200 a day to have a kids' party there. You know, this is a community thing. So if we want to charge people having events there that are out of town, whatever, but we need to have a fee for our residents that is more affordable than that, because
We did have that in the past, Chad, for a lot of the rentals, whether or not you were.
no, I remember that we have in the past.
And through conversation, okay, that's great. Termini's gonna, have a birthday party there. But are you gonna have a birthday party there? It's hypothetical.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
So Mike is using it.
Good spot.
Bridget's not. And why, there was a lot of conversation that who is ever using the facility should pay for it. Because just because you live here in Sister Bay, I understand what you're saying,
When did that
But
attitude
if-
become? What about the communal good? Whatever happened to that attitude?
but
God
because
damn.
it was trying to be fair to the
That's,
users.
it's not fair. Life's not fair.
I'm
This
just
is a great
telling
thing
you
to,
what the-
great thing for affordability for local
Can I
families. Yeah, sorry.
We were trying to make it fair for all, and who uses it pays for it. That's all that I was going to say. So it was that way in the past. There was a big conversation to change it, quite a few years ago. And that's what it was based around, that who's ever using it should pay for it. I'm not
I get that,
saying
and
anything
we've,
beyond that.
Yeah.
Just where we were in the past, where we are now,
I
where we
think
go in the future.
I think we also had an hourly rate that we pulled this year.
yeah, we
If I
did.
Yes.
remember correctly, because that was,
Yeah. It didn't make a lot of sense for me.
yeah,
But
how do you manage that?
yeah, it's,
Well, I think we should lower we shouldn't raise the gazebo fee, maybe the gazebo fee, because it's in the summer, Village Hall, what is it at now?
$50 an hour.
It's $50 an hour now? It used to be like $50 for the whole day.
it was like 20-some dollars an hour back in
I never paid it.
2012 when
I never paid an hourly rate on it. But anyway. Okay,
Well,
I-
reference, I mean, We did a birthday party for the park and rented one of those big, beautiful structures with the fireplace. It was on the water for the entire day and it was significantly less than $200. I mean, that's where we're holding our local birthday parties because it's the space that was inside and it was affordable. So I kind of agree with you. I think there should be a local rate, or at least an off-season rate for locals.
Yeah,
Like,
punish
where else you gonna
punish
do
those
a
summer
birthday
birthday
party
kids.
here?
They always had more fun than I did in March.
I'm okay with looking at, I don't know when we removed it, because it's been a while, I think, but I'm okay with that.
I think the seasonal rate makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good idea.
Well, the off season, like, it just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for a couple Saturday nights where there's a fundraiser or a pride event or something like that. Otherwise, it just sits empty and we're heating it for nothing, like, let somebody, I don't.
Yeah, it's a community property.
It would get used more if it wasn't so expensive.
Mhm.
But the thing is too, though, was in the winter, because we did some analysis, Heidi Tyke, had done it for us for the Parks Committee at that time. Yes, we heat it because we have to heat it year round. If you don't heat a building, we all know what happens to them. But what we're heating it at to maintain it versus what it costs us then to bring it up to a temperature, whatever, it's costing a lot of money to heat that space. I'm just saying that's,
Matt Duffy would be so proud of you, Denise.
I'm just saying, that
I'm just
was
saying.
one of the conversations that was had.
What if we have $100 or $50 from September till May?
Sounds good.
Seasonal, and all the other ones I agree with, I'm fine with. I just wanted to make
Well-
sure that the Marina Park, that $2,000, that's not what it costs in the high season. Isn't it? Marina Park in the high season, I think it's more than that per day. I just wanna make sure they're not in
I thought we
conflict with
raised
each
it.
other.
Marina Park, actually, I think that's higher than what it is right now.
Right, it says Marina Park is $2,000
What
in
page are
here
you on?
on 162, I'm pretty sure, July and August.
So Marina
is
Park right now,
$2,000.
Marina Park right now, if you look at your fee schedule, that's in the packet on page 176. Marina
176.
Park right now, May, June, September, October is $1,500, July and August is $2,500.
Mhm. I just wanna make sure that wasn't in conflict with what's written in this paragraph.
It says Marina Park to 2,000.
I think it should be within the high season.
So you think it should be for me, 2,500, 3,500?
I think you should leave the high season rate. And if you wanna raise the rest of the, May through whatever it was, the 2,000, that's fine. But don't discount it. We're willingly paying $2,500 in July and August to throw away. Need to raise it up to our level.
You wanna say $2,500?
I wouldn't lower it.
Okay.
I don't know, but I think we should lower it.
I thought there was also some discussion about times to not rent it that was in there. I don't know, that probably just didn't translate into here because that's not part of the fee schedule.
There's no rentals on weekends.
So nothing really changed on there. I think that I'm for charging more for that because that is absolutely something that comes out of the public use when that happens.
I agree.
I agree, and I think we all agreed, and then the one year we really raised them, and then we didn't bring in revenue and had forgot that we relied on the revenue. But we probably worked through that now, right?
Do we want to say 2,500 high season and off season, or do we want to just?
I would just leave that high season, and then if you wanna raise it from the 1,500 in the off season to 2,000, that's okay, but I'm just saying I wouldn't lower it.
2,500 in the peak season and 2,000 in the off season.
Is that okay with everybody? That's just what Park said. Are you okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what do we have so far? Cause I'm getting a little bit lost.
There's no changes to park rental, marina ice rink fee. There's no changes to the first 4 bullets, as far as I can tell. Is that correct? I'm on page 162,
Mhm.
and then but the fourth
Oh,
bullet,
I'm on 170, 162. 14 pages too far.
Yeah, it's the write-up item.
Just a note on that fourth bullet, though, Louise, they just, the last line, they also discussed changing the regular sign permit fee from 100 to 150 to 200, so that needs discussion as well.
So the one-time sign permit fee, but you only pay it once when you put up a sign.
Right.
Right now, it's at $100, and we want to raise it to $150 or $200.
depending on the sign.
the range is based on the size.
No, it's a suggested range, and we need to pick it right now.
What if you just move the sign after it's already been approved? Can you make that $0? As long as it's within a legal place to have it.
There's still time involved, because you have to make sure that the location is legal.
We're gonna say 150 for that, 100?
I don't get feedback on this.
I mean, as a business owner, a $200 sign permit
I don't think it's.
is not ridiculous.
Okay, so
It,
that's
it is your advertising.
No, but is it not being ridiculous the way we price things? Or is this what it costs us to process it? Because it's not ridiculous, isn't the proper way to price things.
Right. But we had the conversation with Julie about what staff is doing.
And if it takes more time, then that's fine.
So
But
that's, I'm basing it
proper
on
reason.
those conversations, even though we recommended a range. This was the biggest one where the village was losing money on staff because there are tons, usually of emails, multiple renderings.
And that's a good reason to change the fee.
Julie, what do you think is fair?
Well, I'll tell you right now, it costs more than $200 to review a sign when you're looking, I'm the one doing it. So you have to look at my wage. And it takes a lot to review them. However, my concern, and I think I shared with the plan commission, is if you make it really reflect the time involved, are people gonna get that permit? Because you don't want it to be a deterrent either. Or they just go and put the sign out, and then you have even more work involved. So
And
the,
I don't think 200 is a breaking point.
yeah, so the plan commission had said, well, 150 to 200, and I think we even had talked about 200, but we left it as a range at the meeting to have this discussion here.
Yeah.
So 200 is what would appear in that fee schedule. And then the only other change right now would be to, in summer would be 2,500, and the off season is the one that would go from 1,500 to 2,000.
okay.
And then are we reducing the village hall fee in the off season to $100 a day for residents?
I would like to send that back to Parks to have a bigger discussion about that.
That's fine. As long as it gets considered.
And we do have the, what the other communities charge, so we do know what they charge. If they accept it by resident or not, so it's something that Parks can look at.
Okay.
You wanna send that back to Parks then?
We can still take another look at it.
We have to.
I would like to look at, let's look at when we look at other facilities, sometimes it's not apples to apples, we just need to consider that. I mean, it's not the press, so.
Yeah, so then what we'll do is, if Parks addresses it at their December meeting, we can try and get a resolution at the December meeting to have this effective January 1st. We do have Parks to deal with it, and it had a situation come up where, somebody wanted to rent something and we didn't have an agreement or a price on it, so we do want to get that in place.
Yeah, sure.
So we don't wanna push this one off too far.
So why can't we just make it $100 off season right now with us, and then if Parks really thinks it's terrible. They can sell their case to us and we can maybe change it.
Well, so you're gonna change it, you have to do it by resolution, so it'll come
It's
forward
gonna
next
come in
month.
December anyway.
And they're gonna meet before then, Chad, so we might as well just.
Yeah, I mean, it's December first, third, something like that.
Okay, so if there's no other changes, that'll go parks and then a resolution for the board. I will continue to see if I can address those changes on the other pages that we talked about. Other than that, the resolution will reflect what we've had in the past.
Okay.
And add Marina, Marina had some changes as well.
Oh, yeah, because he put last year's on there. Okay. They did quite some.
All right, on to six, final cost review in the Parks Building.
Okay, so Vlad and I had told you that once we had all the, bills, that we would give you a rundown on what it actually cost. We actually had this, the end of the month, but we sent it to
Yeah.
Parks, so this went to Parks first and now it's coming before the board. So you can see that we spent almost the entire amount that we had budgeted. We were hoping there was a little bit more so we could repair the cold storage building out of there. We had talked about that when all of this was approved. There's only basically 36,000 left. Part of that is because with the new Parks building, what we found out is we had to run a brand new sewer lateral to serve that facility, and that cut across the park. That lateral ended up or will serve the concession stand if we put a restroom on there. It'll serve the TKH building, so there's a lot of other uses that are benefiting from it, but this building paid the whole lateral, paid for the lateral. So if they didn't have to do that, like I said, they'd have an extra 243.
How far overrun was that for that lateral?
Well, it came across Woodcrest and kind of by the driveway to the ball field parking lot. It's kind of where it crossed, and then it went behind the concession stand all the way up to the Parks building. So I can't remember offhand what maybe it was 1,000 feet, maybe.
It was
It was
big,
pretty big.
it was long and big.
It tore up this
Yeah.
spring.
It was a mess.
I do have all that written down, Chad, if you want that, I can get.
Yeah, it would just be interesting to know for future stuff, because sewer things come up to us a lot. It'd be nice to know kind of what we're looking at per foot. Cause that'll
Yeah.
help us.
And it is, this is a little different because there's a lot of things that the size lateral, is it under a road or is it under a lawn?
I understand. Understand.
It'd just be a ballpark, but I'll get you that.
So. Thank you.
But can I ask a question? Sorry, I wasn't here when the Parks building was approved and all the things when they started. What was the construction bid to start with? I mean, did we land close to it? Like, is this where we thought we would be minus the lateral?
Yeah, it was pretty much, I should have put that in here. I thought I did,
We budgeted
it was,
two or something like that.
For everything, engineering, architect,
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
okay.
it was pretty close to the bid amount though. I can get you that, Bridget, if you want, or
I'm sure I can find it in old packets or something, I didn't even think to look before this moment.
yeah, I think I had those notes when we were at the
Did it
first.
go back
I
to
don't have them here.
2022,
It was
late
what?
2022, early 23?
Julie, can you send me, sometime this week, the contract that involved that fiber, which I think is really coax from Spectrum. I just want to see what that quote was.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, the contract, do you remember offhand? We can just send him a copy of the
Yeah.
contract. The Spectrum contract.
Contracted, how much you borrowed or?
Just what that is, just the total contract, it was the 16,260.
Running the fiber to the site, that's Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Spectrum,
okay.
yeah.
Any other questions?
It's a very vague question too. Again, I could have looked this up before, but I just thought it. Was any, I mean, was there, I know it's a big, awesome building and there's lots of bells and whistles and all that. Was there any concern about the cost of this building compared to the old Parks building? Which seems, I know buildings cost a lot right now. It seems like a lot
I think that's why people voted for it.
to spend on the Parks. I mean, obviously, it's amazing, it's there, it's gonna last forever. Was anyone concerned about how much it was?
Oh, I think we
There's a
were
lot of
surprised,
discussion.
I don't think we were concerned, I think we were at the time surprised that this is what buildings cost.
Mhm.
And throughout the process, there were, and there aren't as many, we pulled back on bells and whistles, so you
Right.
think it has bells and whistles, we pulled back on some of that.
Mhm.
It does have additional bays for future use.
Yeah,
The open room is also designed so that if we ever need another office in there, it's wired with electrical and everything else like that. That we can, if we had another employee at some point in time, so we planned for the future. But I think we were just surprised, but when everybody tells us this is the going rate,
yeah,
what do you say? Okay. I mean, we're not gonna get one done for 2 million.
right, I just said, I wasn't sure.
It was.
No, it is, they are expensive, I get it. Just generally asking.
I
Yeah.
mean, there are homes that are built. That
That
are
are
much
more than that.
smaller than that.
Mhm. I just said that, you know,
Apples and oranges, but.
right, well.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the square footage.
Marvel.
Mhm. Well, I'll say, so specifically, like, I've been asked, wow, that's a hell of a building, why didn't they just do like with like a shop, like with the metal walls and the metal roof and, you know, you can still have the heated floor, and that would have probably cost around
Yeah.
$1 million for similar size. Or more, and I say, you know what, I don't know, I wasn't a part of that, and I'm sure there was a good reason we went this route, so I was just asking kind of generally. I'm sure it was discussed heavily.
So,
I can answer some of that, but it was discussed heavily. So when you're looking at, you know, the span of the doors and the height of the doors, that adds to the price of the building. Now you're looking at different architectural components. So it does start comparing it to, like, let's say a home, a private whole building.
Yeah.
It starts adding up because you're now in a commercial building. And they did cut. Right, and they did, like Denise said, they looked at what is the future hold, what do we predict, so we don't have to go through this again. And then they also looked at ways to cut back, like they don't have a heated floor, that's all overhead heat that comes down and stuff. They cut out a lot, it was, and the architect was really good, he would, you know, the committee would say, well, what about this? He would say, okay, but that's gonna add probably X amount to the project. Or if you do this, it's gonna reduce it by X amount, so he worked with them to stay within budget, so, but. Commercial buildings are very expensive, as we.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad,
Yeah.
it's bad, I was just curious.
I think being on the board for the process, I think there's other questions I would ask because of this experience that we didn't ask, and Parks did what they did, and that the building is well built. But I think if you had the building happening right now, I think there's other questions I would have asked. But there's, that building is there, it's built, and it will last a very long time. It's built well.
Well, good work to everybody keeping it under budget.
Okay. 6M, monthly financial report appropriations.
Can I ask a couple of questions? Who bought a cappuccino machine?
That was my question.
Yeah, that's, twice.
They purchased one?
So they purchased the used one. And
We had one before.
I called Andrew and
I kept,
Sorry.
Louise, I'm trying to listen to that.
so yeah, they purchased the used one, so technically, the discount was the rent from last year. I talked with Andrew, and he said he talked with Eric. And he ended up purchasing it.
This was for the parks committee, the parks building,
For
Ice rink.
Ice rink.
Ice rink.
for the ice.
It's
the
for the
warming.
concession stand. You know where the warming house is? You've been in there, there's one there now, it doesn't work anymore. So it's not just cappuccino, it's also hot chocolate, so if you want hot chocolate, we can now have hot chocolate, I think. I don't know,
Now we're gonna caffeinate a lot of children.
yeah.
Brother Color, I'm presuming we have a new Brother copier for $941. Who was that for?
That's for Marina.
Okay.
Marina.
And did we have to replace all the ice heaters for $2,500, or is that just a portion of them?
What page you want now?
Oh, that's 182, Glad, I'm sorry. Amazon Capital Service. I mean, I also know that's Marina and they're paying for it, but do they replace a whole bunch of them every year? Do you remember? That's fine,
That's a good question.
that's
Oh,
okay.
what, those are the things that float and keep the ice from hitting the dock.
Yeah,
I'm assuming replace a few each year, I mean, they have quite a few out there. That's a guess though.
Those are the only questions I have, thank you.
Make a motion that we pay the bill in the amount of $326,042.79. Motion by Val.
Second,
Any further discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, staff reports.
Do you have the Parks and Streets one in here? It was the same one that went to the one that went to Parks and Parks, just like some months, when there are updates on that. And then, we didn't have one from Megan because the utility committee didn't meet and I did not.
Go on to committee reports. Okay. So when we hit personnel, I have something special we'll do there. But questions on finance, we've seen the result of. Any questions on parking? I will make sure that we have an election for the chair and vice chair. That meeting that is scheduled for the 21st has been moved back to the 4th or 5th of December. I should have that date soon. That is on page 4. And parks.
Parks, I see you're tearing down the Village Admin building.
Well, what we'd like to do is move it maybe. And not, remove it, yeah, within if it means raising it, that's.
It would make it a historical district, and we tear down half the. It's in that historical district, even though I do think it's ugly. But
We move.
I have to adhere to historical district stuff now. I don't know how the village gets to just tear down buildings in its own historical district. Seems very hypocritical.
So I think that's a question.
And as an asset and it's money that we could put in other directions like the village hall. I think before you guys go down a rabbit hole of doing it all, you should probably bring it to the board because the board can still say no.
Well, that plan is still.
It's an engineering, but it's to Chad's point, that the further it gets along, the more some money there is in engineering that the village board isn't going to approve it. And I was not supportive of it, so I don't want to try and backdoor it and say, okay, well, I think the village board should see it. But if there is support for it at the village board, I absolutely will put it on for the
Well,
December.
ultimately, it's still gotta come to us and you could have 4 of us vote against all that spending.
Yeah, and we have all of that engineering. on
And
this.
that just work, and the sentiment already is pretty close, so it seems pretty. It doesn't seem smart to not bring it to us.
Should we bring it? I can put it on the.
I think it should come to us.
Okay.
I mean, that's a big thing.
It is a little bit
That
abnormal as far as
Could
the,
be wrenched by
Yeah.
us. Seems like the smart governmental move to bring it to us.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought we were thinking of selling it.
that's what I
Yeah.
advocated for.
Yeah.
And as far as-
Yeah, that we-
Or it's gonna throw my differently, so we can, but, you know,
No, that should be brought to the board.
Okay, I will bring it for existence. Yeah, Patrice, the thing, my issue with it is I was the one who voted against it. So I don't want it to be just, well, they didn't like it, so that's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell the engineer to stop engineering until we have an answer on that.
Okay, I'm going to. Skip over personnel because we're actually gonna go into closed for personnel. And. We have technology and telecommunications. Any questions on that? Okay. You guys all got an email about this today, but I will
Well, there
make a
was
motion.
plan commission too. Did you go through the plan?
I'm sorry, I missed the skip over.
That's okay, page 16.
Sure. Planning Commission, any questions on plan?
I just had one quick question. So we are having a public meeting about the Devilly development for 10, 20, 30, 40 homes and 8 apartment buildings or something, right? And that's when, November 20,
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, 25th, something like that? Okay. All right, so I understand this better. So it was approved by plan as a planned unit development.
No, no. They're having a public hearing on his application for a planned unit development
Okay.
next week. And then we'll know whether it's approved or not.
Okay.
And they don't approve, they actually make a recommendation to the board, so it'll go to Florida.
Gotcha, all right, because this is because it was never, it's new that it's a planned unit development, am I correct? There was a shift in, The plan
Originally, they
for
were
it?
gonna do it as a subdivision, but then decided to go with it as planned unit development.
okay, and who owns the land?
The Duffys.
They would still own it. Okay,
Well, currently they own.
yeah, so if somebody buys a home there, then whoever bought the home, they own the land. Okay, so it's not an association necessarily or anything like that?
I don't wanna get too far into it because it's not on the agenda.
Okay,
But it would be a homeowners association.
all right,
So then after that hearing on Tuesday next week, then it'll come to us in December if it's approved.
That's correct.
well, okay, it's going to public hearing, then it goes back to plan?
No, Plan Commission is the one who's actually holding the public hearing, so they'll be
Okay.
discussing it then.
All right,
after the public hearing's closed and they can vote on it, right?
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they vote on it, okay, all right, thanks,
Okay,
that was all for me.
anybody else have questions on plan?
I didn't see the minutes for coastal byways. I finally made it to a meeting. Cousin Annie was very pleased. Louise, I need you to do some kind of fundraising through the Pulse so they can raise some money and get coloring books. So,
It's still coloring books?
hey, the people like the coloring books, the kids like
If
them.
it works. Okay,
I told her I would bully some people around Sister Bay to help raise money. She seemed excited.
She gonna actually change the color?
They changed it last year, I think.
Good. They did?
It was new, or this past season, or last year, I think it was.
I'm gonna pay for a page.
Do you still have a lifetime supply or no?
Yeah, well, no, I still have a whole box left, but they gave us double what we.
They should get a count
Yeah.
of what's out there.
What?
You should get a count of what's out there.
It did go this year, it was
Did it?
surprisingly popular, yeah.
Good. All right, good, good. Coloring, is back.
Hey, who doesn't like coloring books?
okay, we're good on that. Anything else for committee reports other than personnel? Okay, so I'll make a motion, we enter the closed session, executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 1985 for the purpose of discussing other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session village administrator candidates.
Okay, Stuart actually making a motion to amend the agenda. Do that.
No, I'm doing it under the committee report for Randy. That's Julie. We went back and forth and we spelled it out. It was new to me. So, on that motion,
Second.
motion by Bill, second by Hausman, roll call. Val, yes?
White, yes. Berto, yes.
Yes.
Campbell, yes.
Yes.
Okay, pause for 1 moment.
Can I ask one quick question on your closed session?
Yeah.
Is Bertram completely done?
There, we got guidance from the
No, I understand you know, I don't care about the legal stuff, but it's something, possibly something will change, that Bertram will be back in to do what they were going to do, or are you just saying, no, you're done?
this is working through the legal process of.
Right, because they haven't been, I understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have to be very careful what I say. I mean, like Randy literally sent all of us a letter today saying, be careful what you say about this because it's still an ongoing.
Just that I signed up for it, and I'm just curious if it has a chance of coming back. And to call them is a waste of time. Because you're the ones that's holding the cards.
It's, you're not gonna see any progress in the next, anytime soon.
So if something does happen and they're gonna come back, you're gonna let us know.
Yes.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
I get that, I'm not saying that, I just didn't want to make a mistake. Yeah.
And then he said.
Oh, I got hurt, no, no, like, and I didn't know.
I just want to know that it was understood on your. Chief.
So, I don't think I put you in a waiting room.
No, they.
Oh, okay.
It's another thing. Either, so they didn't.
Right, and I was through.
Yeah. I didn't think it.
Back then.
No, but it's either, you're better.
And I understand why you buy.
But I would have said more.
I thought.
I just.
I need to know about that.
They told
Jake,
they don't understand.
Even if you write me that. So
Well,
yeah, I
I
put it
mean,
in for American.
They should have gotten.
It's in theirs. See if he's, cause I read it.
I think they're building for the
one person piece.
At least and then us delaying it to miss month.
We'll have to, yeah, there's something.
There has to. Paperwork that has to. Hey, so you can sign in. I want to make sure I got the right way.
Take care.
Because
Go to
again,
my phone.
They got the one from yesterday. That was my purchase, or whatever it was, and they were fine getting
Anyway,
it.
you know, all games.
Here, and I have a date, I mean, I've got.
Could have sent it to you when you were in the meeting last night.
It's about seven.
I'll figure it out. I mean, I know I looked at. Wonderful.
Using that one, then, see, we're just about.
I'll figure it out. And if
All right. Thanks.
I can't remember where, I just remember it was in the notes. Papers, for me.
For the housing.
Yeah, thank you.
75,000.
No, the 5,000.
5,000, that's okay. Okay. Then, our next meeting is December 16th. Now, 10A Adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985 1G. Confer with legal counsel for governmental body who is rendering oral or legal advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the board with respect to litigation of which is likely to become involved. Virtual communications contract. Would like to make a motion to go into closed.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Knuckles, second by Shampoo. Roll call. Bell, yes.
White, yes.
Bordeaux, yes?
Austin, yes.
Knocko, yes.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Art, yes.
Okay, we are in place. I am going to,
One moment, please.
I'm gonna leave you guys now.
Nate, does somebody here know what it's about? Was Randy joining us?
I know, I know. So everybody,
No, please.
Workshop.